Welcome one, welcome all to episode 162 of the Xbox Expansion Pass, recorded on Saturday, January 28th, 2023. I am your host, Luke Lohr, the InsipidGhost, joined as always by my co-host, Captain Logun of the Keelhauled podcast. In this episode, we break down the biggest announcements from the Xbox Developer Direct, including the shadow drop of TangoGamerwork's Hi-Fi Rush, release dates for Redfall and Minecraft Legends, and of course, the long-awaited Rare's Goldeneye 007. Xbox has some mixed results and financial earnings this week, and we are excited to rock with you. We hope you enjoy this show. Captain Logun, as always, I like to start the show by offering words of kindness to those who have made my gaming week better. Good sir, how are you, and who are your words of kindness for?
I'm doing good. It's good to be here again. Thank you so much. And this week, I wanted to thank someone special because they went out of the way to really kind of help someone out this week. You know, they went above and beyond. You know, they didn't have to do this. They were just trying to help out a friend who was a fellow podcaster. And it was actually Luke Lohr, the InsipidGhost, that I wanted to thank because as I was watching the internet, there was one Joseph Moran from the PlayStation Trophy Room, for whatever reason, has always just had the worst, like, does not understand the internet, can't figure out how to open up a new account, is blacklisted by the company they cover, cannot seem to get a PlayStation Edge controller. And because of that, they are constantly having to beg you for ordering new equipment and stuff like that. And I'm just like, man, this is rough. Poor Luke. He's a teacher. He's already, you know, like having to go above and beyond trying to save the future of the chillins. And now he has to go to UPS at 5 p.m. to try and send this controller to Joseph. So I wanted to shout out you because you bought it with your own money, and then he's bugging you all the time. He's like, "Did you send it? Did you send it?" To this dude, Joseph, you know, he needs help. We need to get him some help. He's obsessed with Bloodborne. He can't live without his Edge controller, and you're doing what you can for these ponies over here that just can't even order their own stuff.
Man, dude, let me tell you. Okay, so it's funny. All right, you brought this up, and I'm gonna go ahead and call Joseph Moran and Kyle Stevenson out from the trophy room for this. Neither one of these two kids has the ability to order things from the PlayStation Direct store. They're blacklisted or something. God forbid they make a new account or get a different credit card number or something
your password.
Yeah, whatever it is. They don't know how to use PlayStation Direct. So it's always, could someone order me this new thing, this thing, that thing? So I order this thing, 200 some odd bucks out of my account to buy Joe this DualSense Edge controller. It gets to my house, and then he's texting me like, "Did you send it? Did you send it? Did you go to UPS? Did you do it?" And I'm like, "Yo, dude, I'm 15 minutes out of work, you twat. I have a job. Give me a second." And I'm like, "All right, bud, how fast do you want this thing?" Right? Like, how much money do you want to spend on shipping in order to get it? He's like, same day. Okay. I want it. I'm like, okay, first of all, calm your jets, buddy. It's a controller. You're still playing games. So I go in to the UPS store, and I'm like, hey, I just need to ship this to one Douche McGee, which is actually what it says on I send it to Douche McGee. And I was like, all right, how much is it going to be to send it? My buddy wants it next day. He goes, you're not getting same day, dude. I was like, what? He goes, don't do that. I can get it to him on Tuesday for $15 or Monday for $100. I was like, oh, we're going to save Joe from himself. $15, no problem. Here we go. So I text him. I said, hey, they wanted $100 to get it to you on Monday. So you're getting it Tuesday for $15. This doofus didn't even read the text message. Suddenly my PayPal is like plus $100. He sent me $100 immediately. And I'm like, it's the control. You don't need it right now, bro. You're still playing games. So now I have to, in addition to having to take time out of my day, go to the UPS store, etc. Now I have to refund the kid $80 some odd because he can't read a text message, can't order from Direct or anything. It's like, oh.
He was 100% willing to spend $300 on this controller.
Yeah. Jim Ryan Joe. School of Business. I'm PlayStation, and I pay more for stuff. Yeah.
They want pictures of your ears, and they want $300 for their controller. I love Joe, and I'm glad that you're helping him out. The reason why I wanted to bring it up was purely for the joke's sake of it, but it was really nice of you to pick him up the controller and to send it to him, because Sony, for whatever reason, hates their content creators. I don't know why.
Yep. Yep. Well, I mean, it's a struggle always. And yeah, for anyone that doesn't know, we are absolutely joking. We love our boys over there. Shout out to Kyle and Joe. And we do love PlayStation as well. It's just it's a fun kind of
those kids.
Those crazy kids. That's crazy.
That's so silly.
They are such funny boys. I want to offer words of kindness to two amazing people in our XEP community that did a incredible job answering the call of duty here. If you're watching the YouTube video and you're seeing me over on video right now, hopefully I look a lot better. I'm seeing it on my end. I put out that I've been trying to kind of raise the status of the show and elevate the quality of XEP in 2023, which I'm really proud of. I think we've done a lot of that, but I needed a new camera. A better camera that does a better job with more options. And a lot of people reached out. Mitch Powers and a few others reached out, but it was Todd Oxtra and mostly Martinez who sold me on the Razer Kiyo brand. And I got the Razer Kiyo Pro. It's normally $200. I got it for $100. And I could not be happier with it. A lot more options. I think the fidelity looks good. You were helping me set up prior to the show to where we're trying to avoid me looking like Donald Trump being orange or a character out of Redfall with a vampire face. And we're finding that balance. And I'm a big fan of this camera, man. I really like it. So shout out to Todd and Martinez.
I started looking at it because of you and them like kind of talking about it. I was like, how is this thing? I'm going to hold off on upgrading my camera because I'm 40. I don't need to be doing 4K with this mug, and I don't have the lighting to really support it. So one of these days, maybe we'll see in the future. But I'm glad that you got the upgrade that you sorely needed to be able to get like the less of the fisheye lens issue that was going on. Which I have no clue how that even works out, but I'm glad that you're happy with the camera for sure.
Yeah, no, really happy. You and I were talking about a couple things. Like I have vaulted ceilings behind me because I'm in my den. It's like my game room. That kind of throws it off a little bit, but I'm really happy with the camera, with the fidelity that it brings, the options, and like it's cool to be able to elevate the status of XEP. And Todd and mostly Martinez were really helpful in that. So thank you guys. But I want to kind of touch on the idea of elevating the status of XEP. We've upgraded to video. We've got review impressions on the way. We're still going to be doing interviews, but we are gestating an idea that we think we're going to bring to the forefront over the next week or two. So keep an eye on our socials. But that is a Patreon, and I'd love for you to kind of talk about that a little bit.
Yeah. We were talking about this because podcasting is a sunk cost. It's one of those things where, you do it for the passion, and you've been passionate for a very, very long time. And you've never started up a Patreon. And I've always kind of wondered why, because I've never had a good way to support you the way you support me. And now that I'm on the show, I wanted to kind of, we should see if this would be something that we could throw together. So we're toying around with the idea. The premise is we want to have different tiers. So there's different levels of support. We want this to be something where folks are supporting because they want to support the content and the creator, and not like solely hinged on the idea of like getting content early or ad-free things. Like we want to really have this be something where this is because you're grateful, or you're supportive, or you're, even if you just have extra money you want to burn and you got to write it off on taxes or something, whatever you want to put it up as. But we want to try and think up of a way to come up with different tiers for a Patreon. So that way Luke doesn't have to continue spending a ton of money on software and upgrades and things like that. And also, we're getting into 2023 here. The world seems to be coming a little better with the terms of like how to deal with conventions. I've been to a couple conventions already in the last year, and cross my fingers, I still have never had COVID. So I very much think that there's a place where we'll be able to go to places like FanFest, PAX, E3, things like that. We want to get those invitations. We want to go visit those shows, get those firsthand impressions. And all of that does actually take some money. And flights, hotels, things like that, all come from Patreon. I have a Patreon for Keelhauled, and Keelhauled supports all of all the money that I get from my fans from there go towards paying for me going to SOT Fest. And that's something that I think Luke deserves. And I think Luke deserves to be able to go to these shows and to have support from the fans who listen on a weekly basis. So it's not required. It's always something that I think is just there. The way he supports me, I want him to be supported as well too. So we're thinking about coming up with a Patreon. Nothing's set in stone yet. Nothing is launched. But keep an ear on the podcast. Keep an eye on the YouTube. We're going to be talking more about this as the year goes on.
Yeah. Whether it's games for review or coverage, whether it's softwares, because the softwares have added up as we've kind of upgraded cameras and that. And if you don't want to, guys, the content's all staying the same, right? We still want to. Nothing's going to change. Review impressions are going to start on the channel soon. Interviews will always be, as we can get them, they'll be up on the feed, and XEP will still be a weekly show. That's not going away. Nothing like that. So it's just a matter of trying to grow and adapt and offset some stuff, but also be with you guys, So that's kind of the thing there. So, Logan, we had an incredible week of Xbox news. January in general, pretty dope way to start the year. And this past week, I don't think of a better cap off to Xbox news than the Xbox Developer Direct. We had a lot of stuff drop in this one. Big fan of this thing. I got to watch it live, which I wasn't expecting to. We saw 5 different games on display. We heard from 5 different studios, a couple surprises here and there, release dates, hearing directly from the developers. I watched this live and left with a smile on my face, really positive impressions, and those positive impressions kind of maintained through the course of the week. You know how you might like stew on some stuff and then change your opinion here and there. We're several days removed, and I'm still really liking this format. Did you get to watch it live, and how did you feel?
I got to watch most of it live. I took my lunch break like right at 12 my time, so that I could kind of sit down and watch the majority of it. And the rest I had to end up watching like later on. But by that time, like the 4K versions were up on YouTube and stuff. So I went out onto the TV and just watched them on the big screen. But I really liked this developer direct. I think it was a really positive, a really unique way to kind of take what I think other companies have done and really just kind of showcase the content. They did a good job of telling us like ahead of time, like this is when it's going to be. These are the studios that are going to be there, so they set expectations and they stuck to it, and they gave us a little bit extra. And I really appreciated this format. And I think you're right. Like I usually I like that we record a little bit after the showcase, because it gives us time to kind of think and stew on things like you mentioned. And yeah, I'm still very positive about the showcase. I think that this really was a tight 45 minutes. I don't think there was anything where I was thinking like, man, I wish they'd move on. Unless it was like something that I just wasn't as interested in. And I think you and I both kind of feel the same way about Elder Scrolls. It's a fantastic console MMO that I'm not in on. So because I've got so many other areas that I play games on and stuff.
Right.
So Elder Scrolls was the only time where I was like, this is cool, but I have no clue what the heck is going on. But I bet for Elder Scrolls fans, this is fantastic. But I love this new version. I hope that they move forward with this on a regular cadence and just let the studios speak for themselves. Let them be passionate about the game they've been working on for years, as opposed to having people sit up on a stage and just, sit in front of a screen and tell me what's coming down the pike.
I agree. And, it was Nintendo that pioneered this format, this kind of developer direct style format. Sony adopted it because it worked well, and it's worked really well for PlayStation Directs, State of Plays, etc. And I really hope Xbox sticks with this. I appreciate the efforts of Inside Xbox, and I think there's still a place for them sparingly. But this is the format I hope we see going forward with regularity, both in first and third party. I'd love to see an indie spotlight in this style that showcases some of the we've had a lot of Xbox exclusive. Shoulders of Giants just launched. We have the Caretakers. We got a lot of like Benedict Foxes coming out. There's a lot of ways to spotlight specific Xbox exclusives, big and small, from first and third party, that I hope they explore this direct more often. In this one, there was only one game that truly was for me, and that was Redfall. And yet I found myself grinning from ear to ear with all 5 of the spotlights, because we got to hear the developers celebrate and talk about their work, which is something on XEP we regularly do when we have our interviews. And so I was a big fan. They started off with Minecraft Legends. Before I get into what they started off with, I also want to note, Logan, I really like that they set expectations appropriately.
Yeah.
One of the problems with Inside Xbox or E3 or the Game Awards, etc., is people will go pie in the sky. They'll want, Halo's successor. They'll want Starfield 2. They'll want the next big thing, pie in the sky.
Where's Gears?
Yeah, where's Gears? Like random. They told us what was going to be there. They told us who was going to be there. Even with the surprise of TangoGamerwork's Hi-Fi Rush, they told us Tango would be there, which I think a lot of people assume would be Ghostwire Tokyo, well, which is not. And we know that game's coming in Q1 because of its year agreement. But expectations were set, which means nobody was making those nobody rational was making pie in the sky predictions. And so you didn't leave with disappointments. You left. I would think most people left it seemingly quite positive on it. We had a lot of people write in. We'll talk about that, but it was cool. I liked it.
Yeah, it's still leave it up to the gaming Twitterverse to still find things to poke at, right? Because even after the show, I think there were still a lot of people who were like, how come Forza Motorsport doesn't have a date? Where's the date? There's other people like, when are we going to get a Starfield thing? Like, never sated, always hungry. But I have to say, for what they put out, this was a stellar direct, and they really nailed exactly what they said they were going to do, and came out a little bit ahead, I think.
Agree. I want to give a shout out to Jam Pack Sam from the Exhibition podcast. He wrote in to our show notes and said they did an awesome job of setting expectations, but then went on to deliver the extra with Hi-Fi Rush. Now that the dust is settled, I think that Starfield has got to deliver. Out of the 4 major games shown, none are really console sellers like God of War is moving for PlayStation 5. I don't know quite about that. I don't know that I agree fully, but I do want to kind of go through the show and see if we can't agree or disagree with Sam accordingly. They started off with Minecraft Legends, and included in their announcements, we got a date, which is April 18th, 2023, which is sooner than I think people might realize, further than some may have hoped. But that's a pretty big, first party game that I think people are excited for. We just got, we got a lot of spotlight on Minecraft Legends, and I was sold on the game in a way I hadn't expected to be. It's still not for me. Minecraft is not for me, but I like that we're seeing this brand explored, and they looked like they were doing a lot of really cool stuff with PvP, and it was beautiful.
Right. That's what I took away from this, was the PvP side of it was, this is going to seem really weird, but the olds out there will get me. This seemed like 1v1 Brood Wars for StarCraft, because they were talking about having see, I knew what that is. I knew it would be, I knew the old PCs will have, the olds out there will get me. But yeah, the PC fans of yesteryear, this reminded me of when you would build up your base, and then it would be like 20 minutes or 30 minutes, no rush, big team, and it would be essentially like you would build up your base, and you would build up your army, and then you would go and attack the other person's base and army. Very StarCraft, but it's all in Minecraft. And I'm like, that kind of hits. And it's all stuff that is something that I think will resonate with fans of Minecraft and surprise those that aren't, because that gameplay loop still stands. StarCraft is a huge game in Korea because of how you have to micro. You have to be able to,
cats are fighting right now. They do not.
She's like outside the door. She does not like closed doors. That's motion sensor out there. So, and we have family over. So motion sensor has just been going off. If you guys don't know, I have 2 cats. One is Cora. She's the scaredy cat. And then motion sensor is the one that if you move, she will announce it. She will, it doesn't matter how much movement it is. You could put your hand up in the air and she'll be like, meow. And I'm like, yes, I did. but that is motion sensor. But yeah, to get back to Minecraft Legends, it is insane that they've built StarCraft in a game that will be on Xbox One, it'll be on Xbox Series X, it'll be on S, it'll be on PlayStation 4, 5, Game Pass PC, Windows. Like, they're putting it everywhere. And I think it was even on the Switch, which
is really, wow.
Yeah, even on the Switch, they're gonna be bringing it, which makes, I mean, Minecraft isn't a very, like, it's visually, it is not a technical powerhouse. They're not asking for a whole lot, but this is something that I think if people look at this and think, I've played StarCraft, I've played those kind of League of Legends, like, I understand what it is like to have to go up against another team and try and destroy their base. And once I destroy their base, I have to worry about them counterattacking and going after my base, things like that. Like, it's a good gameplay loop because they have enough units to really kind of find, like, there's going to be a meta. Like, there's going to be a paper, rock, scissors. Something will beat something else that will beat something else. And you have to be able to adapt with that. And being able to do that with other people in a PvP mode like this for Minecraft, I think is going to hit really, really well. I think it's going to surprise people.
I think you're right. What was cool to me was watching the developers themselves talk about it and talk about strategies they tried and failed and just the general enthusiasm. And so for me, who, like, maybe I'll play this one. I liked Minecraft Dungeons. I really think it's cool what they're doing. We've got a crew of people we play with, which you've been joining us lately, which has been awesome. But I don't know if this is going to be for us. And yet I still was grinning as we watched it, which was cool. And I the dates are something interesting that I want to point out kind of towards the end of this. But after we saw Minecraft Legends, then it was Turn 10's turn to showcase Forza Motorsport. I think a lot of people were surprised, including myself, that we didn't get a date for this one. I would not say I was disappointed, but I was, to me, it's hard sometimes to get excited for racing games, even Forza Horizon, which I think is the best racing franchise ever to date. I know a lot of car enthusiasts might disagree, but I think it really does a good job of. Well, that's good to hear.
I think you're right, because I have car enthusiast fans, and they love Forza Motorsport, and I think they hold it above GT because they can still go in, do a lot of the tuning. There's a ton of cars, and it knows how to have fun, but still have a lot of the sim in there.
Okay, so we're talking about Horizon, right? Horizon. Okay, good. Yeah. Cool. I thought you said Motorsport, so I'll make it sure. Yeah, I think it balanced. Well, just making sure because GT. This is
totally different things too. Yeah, no, I get it.
But I dig the balance, right, of arcade and sim that Horizon offers. But so it's tough for me to sometimes get excited for racing games anyway. But I felt like Motorsport, they really showed an enthusiasm for their product. The visuals were just out of this world, which you almost always expect racing games to be. With every new console, you tend to see a racing game and whatnot. And so it's kind of surprising that it's taken this long for Motorsport. But it was really, really impressive to see the visuals go on. If you haven't gone back and watched like a 4K version of this direct, do it, because it is stunning. Yeah. Stunning. But they talked about little stuff like how their physics engine will dirt and chipped paint operate differently. Right. Like it'll go into the crevices of the car, which is not a detail I need in my games, but it's cool to see that physics can do that, right? Real-time ray tracing exists in a way that is going to be augmented by dirt and paint chipping. That stuff is cool. The tech is dope.
I want to pause on that too, because that was something that I think really didn't get nearly as much like showcasing, but like full ray tracing in game, like while you're playing, that's impressive to me, because like I've been watching folks play on PC games for a while. They've got DLSS enabled, so they've got ray tracing in their PC games. And I've seen people get their games, their cards overloaded and crash the game because either the game isn't optimized or there's not enough headroom for the ray tracing for that kind of stuff, and they have to sacrifice frame rate. The fact that Forza Motorsport is touting 4K 60 with ray tracing in game on Xbox Series S and X consoles is amazing to me, and it's going to be put on cloud gaming as well too. So even if you don't have one of the new systems, you can still stream this through cloud gaming, through Game Pass, and get that quality of game through streaming on your Xbox One, One S, One X, whatever older console you have, even on your phone. And that is still something that really blows my mind, that I don't think you can't do that on PlayStation. You can do streaming and stuff, but I don't know if you're going to get the same quality as you would if you were on if you were playing on a launch day PS4. Like, would you be able to do that with GT7?
That's a good question. It's a good point to make, and it's something I hope quite seriously that PlayStation gets around to, because I think this is the way of the future. The idea that, all right, you've got hardware. That hardware is limited, but we can find a way to get you that game. That's cool. I saw some of the Xbox engineers that focus on cloud gaming. I saw them in their Twitter feeds this week talking not just about the developer direct, but the launch of Goldeneye. Goldeneye 007 has custom touch controls on cloud. Touch control. So you don't even need to play with a controller. You can just pull your phone up and you're playing Goldeneye with custom controls on cloud. Like, to me, that's cool. I don't know that I would use it every time. Some games will lend themselves towards it versus others. But the idea that everything coming to Xbox Game Pass has touch controls is just wild to me. And it's not something that you can believe until you really do it, because I remember playing cloud controls at E3 2019 at FanFest. And it was like, oh, cool.
Yeah.
This is really neat. I don't know this will catch on. And now it's like, yeah, I grant you Stadia has shut down, but Xbox Cloud Gaming has been soaring, quietly soaring. If you're on Bing and you search a game, you can click play right away. If you're on your phone, cool. Yeah, if you're on your phone, you can click play right away. And to your point about older tech, you can just play a game off the cloud if you're on an Xbox One, even the VCR version, and suddenly you can experience this and get an idea of, do I want to download this? If memory is a problem, do I want to delete some stuff? If data caps are a thing, do I want to spend the data to try this?
Yeah.
It's neat, the doors that it's opening.
Yeah. Forza is going to be one of those, I think, honestly, because racing is a pretty big sport. And I think that racing games really are the graphical showcase for a new system, right? Like, I remember PlayStation 2, like GT was a system seller for the PlayStation 2. Like, GT has always been like coming with the console. This is what you buy because you want to see the power of what this system can actually do, right? Mm-hmm. And Forza Motorsport is going to be that for a lot of people. And I'm really looking forward to seeing just the fans that are of racing come out and really gush about how good this game is, because everything that I've seen shows that they know and understand their craft, and that they are bringing the power of the Xbox Series S and X consoles to make this game as realistic as they possibly can. And the day-night cycles, the weather systems, the pressure for the tires and the physics and the dirt and all that stuff it's fantastic. It's absolutely beautiful. I will dip my toe into this, but I'm not versed well enough to be able to navigate what would be good or bad about playing this game. So I'm hoping there's a spot in there for me where, much like with Minecraft Flight or not Minecraft, Microsoft Flight Simulator, I can still kind of jump in and still have fun in an arcadey kind of way, but to be able to appreciate like what Forza Motorsport brings to racing games with all of the graphical prowess that it's going to have.
Yeah, no, I'm right with you on that, because Motorsport is not a game I'd buy. Game Pass is going to let me try it out. And if there's enough there for me, because I'm the Horizon guy, right? I'll jump into Horizon and play all day. Like, I did that recently and I've been back in. I love it. I'm still desperate for that Horizon expansion 2. I so badly want it to be. I just want to drive through Sea of Thieves levels and Gears level. I hope that's what it is, but I don't know.
It'd be cool. I'd love to see like what they can do, bringing in some other franchises into Horizon, because I think they do such a good job with that already.
Thoroughly agree. But to loop it back to, I don't want to get too far from the developer direct here. I thought it was a good showcase. They seemed excited about their product, which to me is a win. And I'm impressed by the tech all day long. But tech doesn't mean anything to me if it's not fun. And they made Motorsport look fun to me.
Yeah.
So that was cool, right?
Yeah.
It was a little surprising not to see a release date or even a release window. I've seen like our good buddy Ains, he's saying September. He thinks September. I think when we did get a release date for Redfall for later on in the show. That's May 2nd. You got Minecraft Legends April 18th. Later this month, I'm going to pull my date and confirm it. You've got Hi-Fi Rush, which came out during the show, which is crazy. So January 25th, Hi-Fi Rush, Age of Empires 2 Console Edition, January 31st, Minecraft Legends, April 18th, Redfall, May 2nd. There's still a window of time in there for something else kind of between March and April, February, March, April, if you wanted to do something there. I don't know that they need to, but now it's like, all right, you got Starfield, you got Motorsport as far as your known quantities for the rest of the year. I can't be upset by the lack of Motorsport date, but I was expecting it. The question becomes now, is it summer or is it fall?
I think it's summer.
You think it's summer?
I do.
think I don't think I think there's logic to it, but I could also see logic in here's our Horizon 5 expansion, summer, and then Motorsport is fall, get you hyped for the holiday, Starfield holiday. Motorsport and Starfield are your holiday. And then you kind of use Horizon and Halo Infinite seasons, Sea of Thieves seasons to kind of get you through your summer. Maybe you've also got Ghostwire in there, which respectfully, I expect Ghostwire to be their March game.
Yeah.
And they don't, it is what it is in that respect. But that's my thought process for what they got going. We'll kind of see what they actually do. But no release date on Forza Motorsport. I'm thinking fall. You're thinking summer.
Yeah, because I think they're doing a 6-month run for this direct.
Okay.
Like they've got the next 6 months lined up, and they're not quite solid on the actual date for Motorsport. So they didn't want to put a date out there and not hit it. So I think that they're kind of letting that simmer a little bit because until we see Starfield, and I could be wrong, Todd Howard wanted to do 11/11/2022. I think Todd wants that holiday number to hit. And I think he wants Starfield. So I think that they took an entire year off, just like what they did with Halo Infinite. And they're going to let Starfield be the holiday game that sells consoles, because I think they want that to hit like that. So and honestly, I do still think that Starfield will be somewhere between September and November. I think those are kind of like the two time frames somewhere in there that they want to hit and avoid, because there's not a Call of Duty this year, so they're not going to worry about that. There's not a Battlefield this year, so they're not going to worry about that. So they have a fair amount of time between all of those months where they only really have to work around Spider-Man, I think, that they'll have to compete with, because we don't know when Spider-Man's coming out. Zelda's at the end of, or in May. So I think they leave Starfield for the end of the year, and I think they bring in Motorsport for something to do over the summer.
Okay. I like the logic there. I cannot argue any of that logic. I'm curious what they do with Horizon's expansion.
Yeah.
I don't know if that changes anything. You know what I mean? I do not know. But I'm curious, and it's going to be fun to watch. But I got to say, when I stepped back post-direct and looked at the first party output of 2023, and I put them in our show notes all in blue, just to note, Hi-Fi, Age of Empires, Minecraft Legends, Redfall, all have release dates. That's 4 games plus Motorsport and Starfield still to come. I thought that was cool, to say the least. I do want to. The next one was Hi-Fi Rush. That was shadow dropped. I had no idea this was coming. I don't know if you did either. No. Cool to see TangoGameworks get a spotlight that's not a horror game, because they've done Evil Within. They did Ghostwire Tokyo. We know Ghostwire has some not strangeness, but an added caveat of we can't market it because it was on PlayStation for a year, and I respect that. I respect that Microsoft respects that, I think. I know there's legalities, but something about it feels different. But it was cool to see this game come out of nowhere. This, to me, is one of the great benefits to Microsoft's new strategy, is like you've got a main team doing stuff, but you've also got sub teams creating things. This is kind of what... Track me on this. But like, remember when Ninja Theory put out Bleeding Edge? And we were all like...
Okay.
But do you...
Caveat to that.
Okay.
Bleeding Edge was something that was being shopped around for a while.
Oh, okay.
Fair. And Ninja Theory picked it up to have something going.
Okay. All right. Well, then respect to that then. But I will note that I like the main team, sub team, and you can look at Obsidian as another example if Bleeding Edge isn't a good one.
Yeah.
Grounded, Outer Worlds. Obsidian's doing one more. Losing it.
They have Avowed. They have Outer Worlds 2. They just released Pentiment and Grounded, which were the two. There's one more project I think that hasn't been announced. That is being like there's a lot of teams in Obsidian, believe it or not, and a lot of those teams are working on projects in smaller groups, and it's shown to have success. So as long as those games continue to hit, the studio will continue to let those teams kind of tinker around with their own ideas. But for sure, there's at least 3 more games that they're working on too that are announced.
That's cool. And then I just like this idea that you have main teams and sub teams. I mean, Ninja Theory's doing Hellblade and Project Mara, and it's just cool to see this kind of thing happen. So we see TangoGameworks drop Hi-Fi Rush. This is stylish. It's not, but it looks like a spiritual successor to Sunset Overdrive. I played it some this morning. I'm terrible at rhythm games, but it's a rhythm combat game. Nobody would have seen this coming. Brilliant and beautiful art style. I strongly feel that this is a game that everybody should try, and many are going to put down, many are going to thrive in. My wife watched me play this, Logan, because my wife has a musical mindset, and I have zero rhythm. I have zero ability to key in with rhythm. I don't. Yeah, shocking. I don't hear rhythm. I don't even appreciate music the way so many do. I don't have the ear for that kind of stuff, and it's a great disappointment of mine, truth be told. But it was cool because my wife would watch it, and I would tell her, like, can you hear that beat? Because I can't hear it. And she's like, no, it's right there. And I'd say, like, all right, visually I'm seeing this. And she's like, yep, you're hearing the beat there. It's matching this. She is not a gamer. She was able to track what was happening far better than me. And I told her, I was like, I'm almost getting overloaded with visual input. She said, yeah, but it's helping you. I can tell that you're getting better at it. Yeah. It's giving you scores. I'm going through these levels. There's this brilliant mind to it. A really good but long tutorial level. I like this game. I don't know that I'll finish this game, but I like it. And I'm going to be returning to it here and there. I think this is a wonderful boost to Microsoft's catalog.
Oh, yeah, definitely. I've been playing this since it launched. I'm past Rekka. I'm working in the R&D section right now. And do you have the little bar at the bottom that shows the beats moving in towards the center?
No. Okay. I beat Rekka, but I don't have that.
Hit the box button. I figured this out, but if you hit the little box, I don't know what people call it. I call it box and earth. If you hit the options button or whatever, I call it box again. But if you hit that, it'll pop up. And I was like, it never told me this. And I was like, is there a place where it explained? Because I went into the accessibility section thinking it was supposed to be there, and it wasn't. So I was like, it must be a tutorial thing that gets unlocked. And then I got past Rekka, and I was like, okay, I'm really confused because this is not like what I was expecting. So I went into the settings and I saw the actual controller layout, and that's when I saw, it is. But I just started mashing buttons at one point, but that helps me. I've seen a lot of discourse on Twitter saying that a lot of folks are realizing they're not good at rhythm games. This is a very unique rhythm game. And the reason I say that is because you can play with the rhythm and you can do really well. Like it'll tell you like you're hitting on the rhythm and it's perfect. You can also play this game outside of the rhythm, and you're not going to be as penalized for it as any other rhythm game I've ever played. And I love Metal Hellsinger. I think that's one of the best rhythm games I've ever played. I've played a ton of indie ones on Steam. But I think what this one does well is it offers accessibility options to completely like make the rhythm thing one button. So if you have like special things that you have to do, like a certain number of combos or quick time events where you have to hit the button at the right point in time, but it changes buttons or stuff like that, it'll make it so it's just one button. There's another mode that'll allow you just to completely negate the rhythm aspect of it and let you play through the game normally. This game,
really?
Yeah,
you still get achievements?
Yeah, as far as I know.
That's great to hear. I'm gonna jump in to say that
Yeah.
prior to us recording, I have screen capped and it's uploaded. It's gonna go out in a tweet later today. Literally, it's the beginning where it just gives you all these accessibility. Before you play, you go through an accessibility menu,
Yep.
and there are so many wonderful options there. And I'm glad you're saying this because I want to play more of this game, and I'm scared that because I don't have rhythm, and I do struggle with not just rhythm games, but like I just don't have the ear for it. I don't know if it's from when I ruptured my
You
eardrum
you
or my
you got to listen to Gloria Stefan. She can help you find the rhythm.
Fair, fair. I did once watch Cool Runnings where I felt the rhythm, felt the rhyme, and then I got on up because it was bobsled time. Uh, so like my point is, I really dig this game.
Yeah.
There's a lot that it offers, and they shadow dropped it. I don't know anybody that knew this was happening. I don't know anyone that knew.
I saw some comments, people saying that it had leaked early, but I didn't see anyone big talking about this if it did actually leak early. The thing about this game is it does, and it's funny too because I was playing this late one night when it first dropped, and my wife was like kind of in and out of sleep because we were just finishing up a couple shows that we were watching, and she woke up at one point and asked what show I was watching, and I'm like, I'm not watching a show, I'm playing a game. She's like, what is this game? And it's Hi-Fi Rush.
Mm-hmm.
It looks and feels like an anime, but the anime is in the art style of something like Sunset Overdrive, or a lot of people have been saying Jet Set Radio.
Mm-hmm.
I actually think that this falls more in line with like Titan AE, or if anime fans are familiar with Furikuri or FLCL, has a lot of vibes from that. It's very anime, and the humor hits, and the characters are unique. The characters are fantastic. I love Peppermint. I love Cinnamon. I love 808. Like 808 is like one of my favorite characters right now. And I think even Jez was like joking that the cat was like needs to be the new Xbox mascot. And I'm like, yeah, I'm here for 808 being the new mascot because it's adorable. But Chai is such a confident character, and it's so refreshing because he's so willing to just go do whatever has to get done, even though it doesn't really even apply to him. He's just kind of like this dork that's thrown into this whole situation, and Peppermint's just like, you need to help
Peppermint?
Peppermint's the girl. Cinnamon's the dude. Or no, I'm sorry.
Clearly I missed something. Then you might be further along because I've only gotten through the tutorial level.
Yeah, sorry. And I didn't mean Cinnamon is actually a robot. Macaroon, I think is what his name is one of the other guys. But yeah, there's other casts of characters that get brought into the game, and they're kind of your backup crew. They kind of add abilities to your arsenal that you can use to try to kind of deal with certain types of enemies. And they did a very smart way of going about it. But overall, like at the end of the day, I think the character design, the voice acting is all spot on. This game hit hard. I really love this. I would love for Starfield to do something similar, since we don't have a date, like just a shadow drop. Like they're like, all right, we're doing a direct. We're going to talk about Starfield, and it's out now. And people are just like, oh, don't give it time for people to sit there and him and haw over it. Don't let people sit there and try and create their own narrative online. Just let people play the game. Apex Legends did this. Everyone loved Apex Legends. It didn't follow up as well with like the content afterwards, but shadow dropping games is a fantastic way to inspire a player base.
I think it frustrates media when it happens, but I don't know that, but I do. This hurts to say, particularly a week after layoffs. So try to catch my meaning and know that my spirit isn't meant to be hostile here. But games media is less and less relevant than it once was in terms of promoting a game. It is content creators that are doing that. And I don't mean XEP. I don't mean us per se, but I mean like your streamers. They're the ones that are getting the word out. Your Twitch drops, YouTube live methods, like that tends to be more relevant in terms of getting the word out about a game and viral marketing versus you used to need the magazines, then you needed the media review websites to put out stuff. I think IGN's trying to battle that and they've done a pretty good job with like IGN First and stuff like that. But I think shadow drops are more successful than they could have been 5 years ago because of content creation. So take my meaning. I hope my meaning is clear, not that I'm saying they're irrelevant, because I much prefer to live in a world where we have real journalists. So I don't want to mix and match my thoughts there, if that makes sense.
Well, you bring up something that I think I can, if I can rope this in. Gene Park over on Twitter, who is a journalist, put out a statement basically saying that, don't be upset when journalists move into PR. And I think the reason I'm okay with that is because of all the types of people that I would want to be in public relations for a video game studio. I want journalists to be those people because they understand the craft. They have most of them have a moral integrity and an understanding of what like NDAs are meant to be like. And they respect a lot of like journalistic integrity. And because of that, I think that we're getting better marketing for games. We're getting better showcases for stuff like this. We're getting a better understanding. So when they do shadow drops like this, it 100% affects sites like IGN, where they have to then have everyone all hands on deck. They have to write up guides. They have to do reviews. They have to, it sucks for them, but they're also paid to be reactive. And sometimes they get the first time, they get the first looks, they get to have the previews and stuff like that. But, it's a subtle difference between getting a code for a game 3 weeks out from release to review it, to be able to showcase it, and then getting a game shadow dropped. Those two things are usually okay. It's when you get like 3 days before the embargo that they give you a code that you're like, hold on, wait a minute, something doesn't feel right here.
I agree with that. That's true. And I hope Starfield either shadows or give that code 3 weeks ahead of time.
Yeah.
God of War did a good job of that, where the people that were going to get codes got them early, and they were able to have their content ready, and it all hit kind of at once.
Yeah.
I'm hopeful of one of the two scenarios, because the 2-3 days things for the big creators, you and I are not going to get codes 3 weeks out.
Yeah.
Most likely. You know what I mean? Like, we're day before, or not at all, most likely. So I think that, and there's a difference there. And I think that's a fair difference to acknowledge. So a good point. Bottom line, Hi-Fi Rush, a game I want to see more of, hear more about, and I hope people play it and check it out, because to me, this is a great add to the Xbox first party lineup. Great win for Tango. Props to them. Congratulations to them. Also, they're a Japanese studio. That's cool.
Yeah.
That's cool.
You can see the blood in it too. Like, you can see the DNA of it being a Japanese based game with anime and stuff in there. Yes. And it's perfect. It really is a beautiful, fantastic game. God, I love it.
I agree. Chef's Kiss, as someone who it's not made for, and I'm still liking it. So props to that. After TangoGameworks had their spotlight, then it was ESO's turn, and I don't want to spend a ton of time on ESO, but ZeniMax Online, I thought, did a great job celebrating their craft, their game. They nearly sold me on Elder Scrolls Online as a non-ESO fan. It's impressive to me how much content they bring to that game and the work they do there. And it was kind of nice to see them in a spotlighted place where I never would have cared to watch or know about ESO had it not been in an Xbox conference like this one specifically. And I really enjoyed hearing from it. And my finger's kind of on the trigger of downloading it. If I didn't have a lot that I wanted to play right now, I would have hit download. And I bet you pretty hefty bucks that they got some more downloads as a result of this direct. So props to them, like really and truly sincere props, because I was impressed by their presentation.
Yeah. And the thing that really surprises me is that for a limited time, they're going to have a free trial of the Plus, which includes like all of the past content, excluding the High Isle, which is their most recent content, that you'll be able to play on Game Pass, which that is that's like years of content that they are allowing people to jump into. And there's no way that for limited time that people are going to be able to experience all of that content. But ESO scales wherever you want to go. So it doesn't matter if you want to go somewhere, you'll have to hoof it, but you can go anywhere you want and play through the game and get the story that's over there. And all the content will stay scaled to where you're at with your character. And this looks like a fantastic update. I've played Elder Scrolls a little bit, not a whole lot. And it's one of those games where, like, for whatever reason, Elder Scrolls aesthetic doesn't hit with me because I grew up with Warcraft. So I expect my fantasy to look like Warcraft, not Elder Scrolls. So it's a bummer because I feel like I've been kind of sheltered from a really cool story. And it's hard for me to get past the visual aspect of it, but this looks great, and I'm glad that they're launching it in June. It'll give players time to know, what's coming down the line. They'll be able to roll out like more information about their latest class, which classes, when it comes to MMOs, which if you're not familiar, are just types of players, and like they have a specific ability kit. Think of like Overwatch, but to the nth degree. Bringing one of those into an MMO is dangerous because there is a lot that can go wrong with balance, and you can bring in a character and have it be completely broken, overpowered, and it destroys the meta for a while until you get it roped in. And they're bringing necromancers essentially to Elder Scrolls, which is it's really cool if you love necromancers.
That is cool. And I'm happy to see it happening. Game Pass got a lot of love. Obviously, you would expect it to, but it was cool to see that portion. But I think the main talking point for everything and all things was Redfall, which got another good deep dive, another good spotlight. I am more excited than ever for this game. The release date of May 2nd makes good sense. I'm in on this, man. I'm ready to play this game. I want to play this game. This is one that, like, you talk about codes, like, I hope we get codes. I hope we get the chance to talk to people that make it. Redfall is awesome. And I've never been an Arcane guy, never been anti-Arcane either, but like, this is dope. I'm in.
I'm so glad to hear you say that too, because I know when we talked a long time ago, you weren't looking into Redfall. It wasn't your bag, and you weren't into Starfield. And I'm so glad that Redfall is doing something that starts to get your attention, because I've been sold on this game from the get-go. I also have not been like within the Arcane pantheon of games. Like I've played Deathloop, and it's a good game, but I struggle with a lot of the stealth that it kind of asks you to do. You don't have to, but if you go in guns blazing, you're going to have to deal with all the enemies. So it behooves you to kind of take out some of those outlying people first before you go into an area. I have a really hard time with that because I'm either way too patient or I'm impatient. So I'm either paralyzed to the point where I don't want to make a move because it might mess everything up, or I'm so impatient that I make a move and it causes all of the hordes of people to come rushing in on me.
Gotcha. With
this, I love that the characters are going to be set up for either one of those. It'll either let me stealth and like 100% stealth, like you just walk around invisible. Vampires can't see you. I don't know how they don't smell you, but maybe that's I won't get into. I'm not getting into that. But you can also go in guns blazing. You can have a little robot that distracts the cultists or the lower forms of vampires, and you just shoot them while they're distracted by your little robot. And I'm like, yes, thank you. They understand where I'm coming from.
I got Destiny vibes, even though I don't think it's meant to be Destiny. And I don't think it is. I'm not saying it is. I don't know. But like, I got Destiny vibes in a way that I was surprised to get.
I can see that because there's definitely a lot of looting. I think it is kind of, and it's funny too, because Destiny, Overwatch, a lot of games have setups where you get gear or you have abilities, and you try to use a combination of the abilities that you have with the gear that you find. I've seen a lot of discourse around the saying that it's kind of like Borderlands as well too. I'm 100% for those because I love the ability to, use an ability to change a scenario, but at the end of the day, I'm still going to be shooting something. And I think that's what a lot of folks really enjoy about Destiny is that you have abilities. The abilities are unique enough to feel like you can find your play style. But at the end of the day, you're going to find guns and you're going to lean towards those guns, and those guns are going to be fun, and you'll kind of, play around with those. But yeah, I really do love what they're doing with this, and I can't wait to jump in with co-op. I really, really want to jump in with co-op and play through some of these levels and clear out some of these vampire nests.
The more that because you asked me last week if I was planning to play it single player or co-op, I think I'm going to get to do both comfortably. The vibe I'm getting is that I can do both comfortably, and that to me is awesome.
Yeah. I'm really curious to see how they do this. Will it be like Halo Infinite where I can play through the campaign as much as I want on one save? I've got another save where I do my co-op. I've got 2 co-op campaign playthroughs going right now between 2 different friends. And it's nice to be able to go through each of those independently. Very curious to see how it works with Redfall. I think that's the one question in my mind is how am I going to be able to play through this with only having one character to start off with? And I don't know if you have it in your notes, but I definitely want to jump into the Bite Back upgrade kit too.
Is that the physical one where you get it physically, but there's no game? But it's like tailor built for collectors and Game Pass users.
Yeah, that $30 pack.
Yes. Yeah. I haven't ordered it yet. Is it out to order?
I think you can pre-order it now. Yeah.
Okay.
I think you can.
So I'm going to do that today.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. And for folks that don't know, they're putting out a $30 physical edition of this that doesn't have the game. They're expecting that you're going to have Game Pass, but it gives you all of like the Steelbook. It gives you the expansion characters. There's going to be 2 characters in the future that are going to come with this. There's cosmetics and stuff. It's like a collector's edition, but without having to add the cost of the actual game to the collector's edition. If that's not what you need, because you've already got, like, I've got Game Pass till like 2024. I don't necessarily have to buy these games, but the physical edition for $30, I did that with Forza actually when they had the $30 expansion pack for Forza Horizon 5. I did that, got early access, fantastic buy. I never have to worry about not having enough credits or, when an expansion comes, like when the Hot Wheels stuff came out, I had instant access to that. I'm happy to do it again with Redfall.
Same. I think it's a great trend. I hope we see more of it because I'm there for that. Right? Yeah. I like physicals. I like my steel books. That's something that I want to regularly get and see and have. But also, if I don't need to spend the $60 for a game, I don't want to. Simple as that. Simple as that. So I'm there. I'm in on Redfall. I thought this was a great developer direct. I want more of it in the future. I hope to see that Starfield's solo show is late February, mid-March, somewhere in that window, with a late summer to early fall release date. But I hope this sticks. Like, I want these developer directs. I think they would do well and be smart to have an indie style one as well. I think that'd be cool. And I mentioned 2 games that are Xbox exclusives that I have a close relationship with because we interviewed We Are the Caretakers. We'll probably interview Shoulders of Giants. Those are small indie games that are Xbox exclusives. I would love to see indie directs talk about games even if they're already out. I think that would be that would go a long way towards building a relationship with people that maybe could use that spotlight. So
yeah, definitely. Especially if they're going to be on Game Pass, like give them their flowers. Let them show off what they've done. Get people interested so that it's not just the thumbnail on Game Pass.
Yep. Agree. Logan, I want to talk about a few things not specifically related to the developer direct, but before I do want to read what Jose wrote in. He said he thought developer direct was a great format, loving everything that Xbox has lined up this year. Another thing that I appreciate is the variety of games that Xbox has, whether it's first or third party. It's everything. It's the everything box for me. That's awesome, Jose. Shout out to you, man. Pretty cool kind of release with GoldenEye 007. It finally, I might add, Rare finally allowed it to happen. They've been the ones keeping it, right, Logan? They've been the ones holding back on it.
It's been Nintendo. It's 100%. I'm so, oh man. So
for the record, Logan knows, guys. That's why I want to point that out.
Oh my God. I think I think it's been there. If you don't know the history behind GoldenEye and the number of hands in the pie for the legality of this game, it is ridiculous. There are like 10 people or 10 like legal parties that have to sign off on this kind of stuff. And they all have to agree on what gets released, the version, the features, the availability. Like, it's ridiculous. So I've seen so much commentary about why isn't this the XBLA version? Why isn't there multiplayer? Why does Nintendo get like, there's so much conversation going on around this game, but it got announced in September. Here it is in January. It's a little later than I was thinking. Soon could have been a little sooner, but oh my God, dude, the Xbox version is so good. It hits the way I want it to hit with the nostalgia, but with controls that feel, it feel like my brain remembers how good I was in Goldeneye. And I went back and played it on my N64 controller. I don't know how my stupid little brain figured it out back then, because it does not feel good.
It does not feel good. I didn't do the N64 part, but I saw some people frustrated with the state of how this port is. I feel like it's really solid. I really enjoyed it. I'm going to keep playing through it. It's an N64 game, so let's all calm it down. It's part of Rare Replay now, which is cool. Go ahead.
For the digital version, I do want to stress, don't buy a physical edition of Rare Replay expecting GoldenEye to be in there.
That's fair. Yep, a good point. I do want to point out a couple other things. This is the XBLA version that was supposed to launch almost a little over a decade ago.
Little correction on that, though, because the XBLA version was like a rebuild of that and had much better graphics. So I know I've said this in the past that it was the XBLA version. It's not. I looked into the studio that did the port of it was just like, it is a full emulation of the original ROM.
Okay. Good correction then, because I was under the impression it was the XBLA version. Thank you.
Originally I was too, yeah.
Okay, cool. Bottom line, play it. Remember, it's an N64 game. Please don't get caught up in the nitpicking of a pixel here and there. I think that's a tireless endeavor that's just going to wear you out. Find the fun, guys. GoldenEye, you can play it. That's cool. I'm having a good time with it. It's silly. It's wacky. It's dumb. The physics are silly. Enjoy it. Logan, we had some fiscal year 23 quarter 2 results come out. Gaming revenue was down for Xbox by 13%. Xbox content and services down by 12%. Xbox hardware down by 13%. First and third party content declined over this past time, but Game Pass subscribers rose and ascended about 12%. Not great news for Xbox, but it makes perfect sense, lacking first party. And while I won't try to diminish or look down on that in any way, I will note that we talked about this already. We've got 6 Xbox exclusive first party games, not Xbox, 6 first party games, 7 if you count ZeniMax Online, that have all been spotlighted yet. Hi-Fi Rush, Age of Empires, Minecraft Legends, Redfall, Starfield, Forza Motorsport, all for this year, plus their ongoing stuff for Halo Infinite, Forza Horizon, Sea of Thieves, ZeniMax Online stuff with Elder Scrolls. Kind of a vertical or a horizontal move, all things considered. Not great, but a lot of good things for 2023. I think it's a fair thing to say, and Phil Spencer said that in an interview recently. Not great, but more really good things to come this year.
Yeah. I'll echo that, and shout out to Kat Bailey for the interview as well too. It was nice to get that IGN interview. And I love that they titled it the 2013 interview with Phil Spencer, because it indicates that there won't be any other interviews with Phil Spencer in the year 2023. This is it. When console sales are down, everything else is expected to go down as well, because you're not having an influx of new gamers into that ecosystem. The fact that Game Pass subscribers grew shows to me that the Xbox Series S at $200 this last holiday season was a success, because it's a 500 gig hard drive. A lot of folks are buying an Xbox Series S for the $200 and getting their kids Game Pass, and Game Pass is like built into buying that. So I think what happened was not a lot of X's were sold. A lot more S's were sold at a much cheaper cost than their typical $300. And as a result, you saw more people getting into the ecosystem, but getting into the ecosystem a lot cheaper than you normally would have seen in prior years.
I think you're absolutely right. That is a big reason for it. I think those subscribers to Game Pass are being treated very well also. I mean, there's a lot of content there between first party stuff, between third party stuff. You got EA Play in there. I know a lot with Dead Space, people are playing the old versions as much as they're excited for the remake. There's a lot of fun to be had because of Game Pass. And I think when people are realizing this, it's like, yo, would Luke Lohr ever buy Hi-Fi Rush? Not unless it needed to be coverage for a game, right? Not unless it was coverage for this show. I didn't need to. And then I found myself sitting with my wife, a non-gamer, and exploring this game. That's cool. That's fun, right? Age of Empires isn't going to be for everybody, but people are going to get to play it. Game Pass. Forza Motorsport, not a Luke Lohr thing. I'm going to try it. Maybe it is a Luke Lohr thing. You know, I hope that people are getting to try that out. And like Jedi Fallen Order is on there. Do that. Play that on Game Pass, EA Play. Get excited for Jedi Survivor. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, I can't wait.
I know. Same.
You know what surprised me too about, and kind of going a little bit back, I don't want to dwell on it, but I was really surprised that Hi-Fi Rush, if you just wanted to buy it, $30.
Oh, I didn't know that.
$30.
That's a great price.
Yeah.
That's exactly what that should be.
Yeah.
That's exactly what that should be. Grounded too. Some of these games, $30 is a good price point, man. Get people in, check it out, have a good time, move on. I forget what game it was that we talked about recently, that if it had just been $30 or $40, people would have been happy. Maybe it was Forspoken. Maybe that was a different podcast. But like sometimes the full price point changes what people want from it. And that stinks, right? Like there's a lot to enjoy in video games. And if a price point's cognizant and aware, you're good. I really wish I remember which game it was we were talking about. Maybe it was Cast Co-op, but
I can't remember what it was. I remember the conversation.
Do you? Okay, so it was here. Listeners, you can jump in on that one. But if you just put it at a budget price and rock, you're good. Sometimes you can just have a good time with that. Evil West did that. Nobody got mad that Evil West was an old school style game. You know what I mean? So, Callisto. It was probably Callisto.
Yeah.
It was probably Callisto Protocol. Yeah. 5 million was what they wanted. They got 2 million sold. 2 million is great for new IP, but they were disappointed. Callisto was fantastic. If you put that bad boy at $40, $50 instead of a 60 or 70, dude, you're good. Yeah, it's imperfect. It's a first launch. That's what it was. It was Callisto. So I think that's a good price point for Hi-Fi Rush, and props to them for that. Let's see. I want to touch on one or two more things before we peace out of here. We kind of did mention that Phil Spencer interview at IGN and Kat Bailey. Do go check that one out. It was great and it was wonderful. We didn't have too many people write in this week, Logan, but I am going to pull up a few. We do have a question. Let's look at question number 2 from Famous Seamus. Would you read that one for us, please, while I pull up the rest of them?
Yeah, Famous Seamus always coming in on with us, just writing in the questions. Really appreciate it. Wrote in, says, are there any games you wanted to see but wasn't at the Direct? And yeah, honestly, if I'm being honest, I would love to have seen Starfield there. I think that they want to give more time to that game, just given the scope of it. But I think that's kind of, that's on me. I definitely would love to see more about, honestly, I don't know if Warner Brothers would do this, but I kind of want Xbox to hand the cash to Warner Brothers to get the marketing deal for Suicide Squad.
Yeah.
I would love to be able to do that, especially since it's I'm still holding out. I will, prove me wrong, Suicide Squad, but I still think it might get delayed. But if it's going to be coming out in May, especially May 26th, like that's Zelda time, right? Like that's a perfect time for Microsoft to be like, hey, we've got Redfall at the beginning of May. We're going to get Suicide Squad deals for the end of May. And then that will lead right into E3.
Yep. I don't think it's going to happen. And I'm the DC guy, right? But I don't think that's happening.
That's fair.
But thank you, Famous Seamus, for writing in. I would have liked to see something from, like, maybe not this Direct. It's kind of hard because they did a good job setting expectations. So the question kind of throws me off a little bit on that sense. But I'm ready to see something out of State of Decay. I really like State of Decay. I don't think people are thrilled for State of Decay in a big way. That would be a great short drop, like, hey, here's the announcement. It's coming out in a month. That would be
quiet.
Yeah, make that one quiet,
Contraband.
not loud. I don't know if I'm excited for Contraband. Maybe
I don't know.
Maybe sometimes I have a bad attitude, but like
I don't know what it
Games
is.
gets mad at me for not being stoked for Starfield, right? And I'm like, I don't know what it is. And I went back and watched some of it. I am excited for Starfield. I still don't know what it is. They told you what it is. I don't know.
I will be very curious to see kind of how they present Starfield, because Starfield is they've laid out to me at least what it is. Like, you're going to be going planet to planet. You're going to be going through the story. There's going to be factions you have to deal with, and you're going to build your base. You're going to build your spaceship, and you're going to have to, get resources for that kind of stuff. You're going to have your own crews that you'll interact with, and story will be dealt out that way for side quests, things like that. You'll get to visit some of the really big cities, and you'll get side quests through there, kind of like Mass Effect and stuff. But I'm very curious what the expectation people have of Starfield for its own direct that they're going to show off, that won't just be very similar to what they've already shown, because they've already shown us different worlds. They've already shown us capitals. They've already shown us the factions. They've already shown us the bases, the ships, the combat. Like, what else are you guys expecting? Like, I'm sold.
Agree. I'm sold, and I'm gonna get hyped as we get closer. I'm excited. Yeah. I'm gonna get hyped. Like, I can just tell you, I'm gonna get hyped. But I'm excited right now. Logan, I just wrapped up Callisto Protocol. I got every achievement in that game. I loved it. I downloaded Dead Space. What's that?
That's fantastic, dude. Congrats.
Thanks, man.
Full achievements on Callisto.
Yeah, and I had fun doing it. I did it. I played it on easy the first time. New Game Plus was max difficulty, which kind of made it easier. I mean, probably, but I had a really good time with it. Really loved a lot of that experience. Led me perfectly into Dead Space, which I purchased and downloaded. Side note, because of EA Play and Game Pass Ultimate, I was able to buy it at a 10% discount.
Nice.
So I got a couple bucks off on that one.
Do you get the 4-hour trial available for Dead Space through EA?
I don't know, because I did the pre-order. Because I wanted to have it ready to go when I got home, and then I ended up not playing it right away. Because we put in code requests, and we did not get one at the time of this recording. We might get one later. But I wanted to have it ready to go. And so I'm ready to play Dead Space. That game is getting all types of great reviews. Right? I enjoyed Dead Space when I first played it, but I don't think I appreciated it the way that I'm going to now, especially after loving Callisto. I mean, I'm a different gamer than I was when Dead Space first came out. So I'm so stoked to dive into this one. Right now, for XCP review impressions, which we've not done any publicly right now, I've got Gotham Knights that I want to do, Callisto, and then maybe Dead Space. And this is all like as we can, right? Like, this is all in time, but I bought this one. I'm excited for this one, and I'm stoked to check it out. Yeah,
that's fantastic. That because I was watching Dead Space playthrough a little bit last night. I'm terrible when it comes to horror games. It's so hard I bought RE7 for like $10. I made it through like the first little tutorial section and stuff.
That's a scary game.
It is hard on me, man. And I will say Resident Evil 7 so far the easiest horror game that I've been able to go through. But dude, I can't imagine I can't imagine myself going through Callisto Protocol twice and then jumping into Dead Space and not just wanting to die. It would just be too scary for me. But I don't see it on EA Play. I'm digging through here. I want to try and find it to see if there's a gameplay trial available for it. And
I did not find Resident Evil 8 scary. Maybe you could try that one. I also didn't find Callisto that scary either.
I always say 7, don't I? And I mean 8. Village.
Oh. Okay, so yeah, Village I did not find scary except for the dollhouse. But 7 was goddamn terrifying, bro.
Yeah, I won't touch that one. I'm not touching that one. Never in a million years can anyone pay me enough money to play Resident Evil 7. I've watched people play through it. I will never touch that video game. I will definitely play through Village at some point. But
what I'm hearing, Logan, and listeners, I'm just talking to you. Logan can't hear me right now. I'm muted. There's no way he can hear me. Is that if we get Patreon subscribers? Look at him. He totally knows where I'm going.
No.
The Patreon tier.
There's no Patreon tier for this. There's no amount of money you can pay Luke or myself to get me to touch Resident Evil 7. I will have a heart attack and die.
We're trying to go to FanFest. Do it for the cause, bro.
This is not a take one for the team. This is Logan will die. He will have cardiac arrest. He will keel over, fall on a cat. There will be a smell. My wife will have to hunt you down. I am not playing Resident Evil 7.
$100 tier. Play it in VR.
No.
Oh man. Oh gosh. Oh man. Hey, you know what? I'm gonna twist it. This isn't about us, Logan. This is about Extra Life. Okay, do it for the kids.
Oh, you know.
It sounds like little Timmy's not gonna make it unless you do it. All right.
Look,
he's gonna buy himself out of his own tier.
I will donate to Games Done Quick. I will give money to Extra Life. I will not play Resident Evil 7.
Oh man. Well,
same thing for Callisto Protocol too. Like Callisto Protocol, like I've seen
Callisto. I promise you could play Callisto. Okay, fair enough. So, okay, all right, fair enough. Well, I think that's a good spot to wrap. Any Dead Space Callisto coverage will be coming from me. So there's something there, guys. Take a look at our socials. Take a look at the YouTube side. Throw a subscribe on there. Follow us over on the Twitter space. You can find me on all the socials at InsipidGhost. Anytime you retweet a show, that means the world to me. You click like, that means the world to me. I see your comments, either on Twitter or YouTube. Means the world to me. Thank you guys for listening. Logan, where can we find you on your socials, brother?
Head over to Twitter at CAPT_LOGUN. That's where I'm at on Twitter. Come say hi. Let me know what you guys think of Dead Space. Let me know what you guys are doing in Goldeneye. I've been having a really fun time with Goldeneye. I love seeing folks really excited about it. In Hi-Fi Rush too. Like if you guys are playing Hi-Fi Rush, I want to know where you're at. Let me know what you guys think of the rhythm. Have you guys switched over to streamer mode? Have you used the box button to see the little rhythm bar at the bottom? Did you have trouble finding it? Let me know over on Twitter, CAPT_LOGUN.
There we go. All right, everybody. That's it for us. Take care.